Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to talk about why I'm going to recommend not pulling Golbez, but also why I myself am going to pull Golbez. Let's go ahead and dig in. Now, it may seem a little contradictory for me to recommend not pulling him and then pull him myself, but you have to remember my advice is kind of generically given to a large general population, and of course, I'm my own player in my own way, and there are units that I like more than other units, and Golbez for me happens to stylistically be one of those units. He happens to look amazing. I really like his uniqueness. He's not going to be coming around for the foreseeable future. We don't know when the next Final Fantasy IV event is going to be on JP. So for me, there is an element of he's one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters, and I do want to pull him. And so for me, that's enough. That's enough for me to want to pull for Golbez. I think he's unique. I think he'll, change my experience up in the game. For me, that's what matters. Now, for other people who are looking at Golbez and they're like, should I pull him? Should I not pull him? There's kind of two factors that I think you need to consider. The first is going to be the cost to pull Golbez. If you are a free-to-play player and you are saving up for other units, or you are wanting to be meta relevant, right? You're wanting to be in an upper echelon guild, you're wanting to participate, in specifically high-end strategies, this is probably not going to be the unit for you to pull. This unit is, for the most part, used in a couple of niche strategies on the JP side. He doesn't have the best synergy with dark compositions, right? Yes, he'll fit really well with like Black Rose Helena. Yes, he'll fit really well with Garble. We don't have EX Garble out yet. A lot of the dark VCs, a lot of the time you're still going to be running Dark Slash as opposed to a Dark Magic build. Dark and Magic don't chain as opposed to Dark and Slash, right? Of course, Dark will always chain with Dark, but Magic itself doesn't have a chaining feature to it. So that's also something to consider, is the PvE kind of ramifications of Golbez, right? He's not going to be a unit that you're often going to use as opposed to, Dark Slash, because he's not going to be able to hit those modifiers as often. He's not going to be able to kind of cap his damage fast as some of these other multi-hit units are. Now, on the other side of things, you have players who are like collectors, who are a little bit like myself, who pull him, and that's absolutely fine. And then you have other players who, weigh whether or not to pull a unit based off of cost, right? And I think this is a question that we're going to have to ask tonight when the news comes out and the banners come out. We're gonna have to review all the banners. We're gonna have to review, the shops, because as far as everything I've heard from the JP side, Golbez is a relatively cheap unit to pull. So that means he's going to be, from what I've heard, about 28,000 Visior to pity him. And the last time we had a 28k Visior pity, there were a couple other factors that went into pulling for that unit, right? We had a 9-step, and when you look at the rates for units, right? Oftentimes their rates are not increased on the 9-step, but the last time we had this, the rates were increased on the 9-step. So it's quite possible that Golbez will have a 9-step and his rates could be enhanced on that. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to look at for Golbez is, are his enhanced rates on the 9-step? Because if they are, that means you can pull on the 9-step relatively cheaply and potentially get Golbez in, a really good and efficient manner, right? And for a lot of people, that might actually be worth it right now, because you can get some weed, you can kind of build up, some other resources. You could potentially pull a dupe or pull a copy of Cecil Rosa Kane. Another thing that's been unconfirmed that we don't know is coming to Global was on JP. Apparently there was like a level 99 unit. I don't know if this is going to be for the previous units or if Golbez is included in this, but there was like a 6k paid viz, like get a level 99 unit with kind of all of the shards and everything that you needed for it. I doubt Golbez will be a part of that, but that will likely also be a possibility. We also have to consider the amount of shards that we're getting to max him out, right? Because usually a unit is, the cost of a unit we always think of as just pulling a unit. We're going to be getting a lot of free Golbez shards. So if you're looking at taking your account wide, going the kind of dark route, and, you know, potentially messing around with Golbez, you're going to probably want to pull him. Now, there are some things that would be an immediate red flag to me if Golbez came out on his banner and the banners were changed from JP. An immediate red flag would be an Elena banner for Golbez. If there is an Elena banner for Golbez, I don't think I can pull. I don't think that would be a good idea. I think you're more likely to go to pity, even though he should be a normal cost and not a 100 cost unit. I still don't think it'll be worth it for you. I think you're better off just holding off. The other thing I would consider is, you know, maybe you just go, if there is an Elena summon pity for him, maybe you just buy the tickets, right? Maybe you buy the 300 paid viz ticket, maybe you buy kind of all the discount tickets and do a couple pulls on those. And maybe if you go that route, you'll pull him at a little bit of a discount if you are kind of forcing yourself to pull. But it's going to be, I would say it's going to be kind of a hot mess all around. And this will probably be in my news video tomorrow morning, where we kind of discuss, you know, what the best method to pull him is, whether or not I think it's worth it to pull him, and all these kind of small details, because there's going to be a lot of small details. And, you know, if I've learned anything over the course of the last couple of months in WoTV, is that they've been changing what they do. They're changing the recipe, right? You have to check the summon rates. You have to check, you know, potentially like the 10 UR pull, right? Like all of a sudden on the last banner that we had, all of a sudden, not Ibarra, but Joom was on like the 5 UR pull or something. Like that is unheard of. Like that's never happened before. So there's a lot of things to consider going into this. There's a lot of things to look at. I'm sure I will see a lot of you guys coming on stream tonight to kind of figure all that out. I think for the majority of people, though, this is going to be most players. They will probably want to skip Golbez. Oh shit, I just failed my raid. Holy shit, I just failed my raid. I have no idea why I failed my raid. Probably because I'm talking to y'all, but I think for the majority of the players, Golbez is going to be a pretty hard skip because most players probably already pulled on Joom. They're probably saving up for Setia, or they're considering, you know, Astoria coming in the near future. We also don't know if there's going to be a Chinese New Year unit. There was a newly released Chinese exclusive unit back at Christmas. So it's quite possible that unit could be coming to global for Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year, sorry. But you know, there's a lot of things to consider here with kind of what's coming in a couple of months. So I would say I'm going to pull because I love Golbez as a character and I am excited for him to come out. I also love, like, shout out to any of you guys who love Golbez's art style for WoTV, because it is amazing. Like, his art style in WoTV is next level. But yeah, I'll be pulling. I think most players probably shouldn't pull unless you can probably get him cheap or secure him pretty cheaply. I also would argue you may not want to pull on the other units. Hopefully Cecil is still given out for free, I would hope, because Cecil is one of those units that, you know, you get bravery from his TMR is going to be really good. So yeah, hopefully we'll have to see. There's just so many unknowns right now. There is so many unknowns with Golbez, and if you wanted me to give you an easy answer in this video, there is no easy answer for it. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you guys next time.